I mean, I think it was a pretty tough match against a really experienced player. So, yeah, I mean, obviously disappointed to lose first round, but yeah, I mean, credit to Alize, she played pretty well.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
Simon Briggs, Daily Telegraph. Just on the medical timeout, I assume that was blisters you were having checked. Did they affect you much? And do you have an idea how you can stop picking them up as often as it has been this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting some blisters like throughout the weeks in the States, but I think that's just down to humidity and stuff. But yeah, I got a new one. But like, you know, you just tape it up and move on with it. Like, it's a blister, not much you can do about it. So it is what it is, and sometimes these things happen in these conditions. But yeah, not much I could really control.
It seemed quite windy, particularly down at the south end. Did that affect the way you played, and did you try and find ways of dealing with it, and did you find them effective at all?
Yeah, I think it was quite windy. It was blowing like from back to front, so it was quite difficult for me, especially to find my ball toss. And I think that, you know, I was hitting quite a lot of serves long, and I just struggled to adapt to it really. And I mean, it's something that both players have to kind of deal with, and she just dealt with it better than me today.
Mike.
I'm Mike Dixon, the Mail. I mean, and I'm just wondering, I know it's very early days after the defeat, but is it kind of difficult for it to sink in now? I mean, how does it feel as at this very moment about not being the champion?
Well, I mean, obviously really disappointing, you know, really sad to leave here. It's probably my favorite tournament. But also, I mean, in a way happy because it's a clean slate. You know, I'm going to drop down the rankings, climb my way back up. And yeah, I mean, I think in a way the target will be off my back slightly. And yeah, I just have another chance to kind of claw my way back up there. So, I mean, I've been doing some really good work in the last 6 weeks, especially. And yeah, just looking forward to kind of putting more of those weeks together consistently, and yeah, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. Court.
Emma, tough luck today. Just in terms of the last couple of weeks, you were talking about finding that freedom and really being able to go for it. How did you find trying to play that way, or even if that was your game plan today, trying to play as loosely as maybe your arm was in Cincinnati out there today? Was it tough?
Yeah, I think also the way that the conditions were, it was quite difficult because the ball was moving around, and for me to like really swing. And then, I mean, Alize's defense was pretty good. Like, I thought she was just scrapping everything back, and you know, those like junk balls in the middle of the court, especially with the wind blowing around, it was really difficult. Like, she just kept getting it back, and maybe in the future I could look to improve my net game to play players like that, but it's something that I haven't done much of, so I'm not really going to try it out in a match. And the occasions that I did, like, she kind of read where I was going and just like hit a pretty good lob. So yeah, it's difficult, of course, but I mean, it's been a positive few weeks of tournaments, I'd say. You know, I improved in confidence each week, and yeah, today was a tough match. I mean, I think that I wasn't probably like going for my shots as much because of the conditions as well, but I mean, it's all positive.
Hi, Emma. Eleanor Crookston, Press Association. I know it's very soon after the match, but what are your thoughts on your future with Dimitry Terzanov? Do you think that's something that you might continue with, or when will you kind of make that decision?
I probably won't make it right now, like after the match, but yeah, as I said, we had a good 6 weeks in the States here. But yeah, I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
Emma, this is a clean slate for you in your career. So going forward, what is going to be the most important factor, do you think? Is it physical, mental, technical? As you try and become a Grand Slam champion again, what's the most important thing you think you've got to get right?
I'd say just putting, you know, consistent weeks together. If I look at, you know, how much tennis I've played this year or training I've done, it's very, very minimal. And we like actually counted the days, and like from like Rome to you know, like a bit after Wimbledon, I only played tennis for like 14 days in like 2 months and a half or something. So it was pretty wild. But as I said, like 6 weeks of training, I already feel like I'm so much better as a player. You know, I definitely feel like I am growing in confidence, and I think the most important thing for me is just consistency of these weeks of training, of competing, of, you know, you lose a match and you're on the practice court like 2 days later or something. You know, it's not having these big chunks of gaps.
Matt?
Yeah, Matt Futterman from the New York Times. How long do these losses generally stay with you? I mean, will this be okay by tomorrow, or do you find yourself, do these experiences sort of stick with you for days and weeks?
I think it depends on the match. You know, some matches you get over them pretty quickly. Like after the match, you're fine. You know, you played a good level. You do your treatment, you do your recovery. You're like straight on the bike or doing stuff, and then next day training again. Other matches, other losses, it can take a bit of time. Like I know for me in the past, I would get really, really down because I wasn't used to losing. But then I think this year has definitely helped in a way. Like I know I can't really mourn over a loss because I'll just take, you know, weeks, and I kind of got better at just picking myself back up quicker and quicker. But this one obviously hurts a bit because it's my favorite tournament, and obviously like a lot of emotions in the past year. But yeah, I mean, I'm proud for like putting myself out there, you know, every match, every day. Like I know I'm pushing myself to be the best I can, so not much I can do.
Take 3 more questions. 1, Tamani. Mike, you'll have the last question. Good. Yes.
Hi, Emma. Molly McCullough from The Telegraph. Unlucky today. Obviously, it's so disappointing right now. Do you think there'll be a small part of you that might feel freedom in not having kind of reigning US Open champion as a prefix to your name, both on the court but also off the court in the coming months?
I think in a way, yeah, like it is a clean slate and I can just start again. Like I don't know what my ranking will be, probably pretty low down, but with perspective, like I've actually, as a 19-year-old, had a not bad year. I mean, to be top 100, I'd be like, okay, if you told me that a year ago, I'd take it. But like, I think that it would be, you know, it would be nice in a way to kind of just start over, start fresh. But I mean, off the court, I don't think it will make much of a difference, to be honest.
Okay. Tamani, and then Mike.
Monica from The Guardian. Just wondering obviously it's soon after the match, but what do you want to, after this loss, what do you want to do next? Do you want to take some time off, like a few days off, or back to the practice court?
I want to go to bed. Like, I mean, like, I don't know what. Straight after the match, like, I'm not really thinking about my next plans. Like, I know there's still some tournaments left in the season, and you know, it could be exciting for me to start my kind of climb back up there in these tournaments in the rest of the year, and just be like, okay, how far can I go until the end of the year? And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Okay, Mike, last question.
Yeah, that was actually kind of my question. I mean, I wonder if there's perhaps something appealing about maybe playing smaller tournaments as a lower ranked player. And I know it's early days, but if you would think about doing that perhaps rather than taking wild cards into bigger events.
Well, I actually think for me, like, the most exciting thing is like trying to do well, or like at each of the different tournaments, like regardless of what it is. You know, it sounds weird, but like, okay, US Open and defending champion, like obviously it would have been great to defend the title, but like I kind of want like new experiences. Like in a way I've kind of done that, so like I want another tournament, and it doesn't really matter what it is. I think any player would be happy to win a tournament. I think it makes a massive difference no matter what the level is. So yeah, I think that I'll play, you know, some 250s. I think the rest of the year is that, and we'll see what the calendar holds.